March 6th, 1836. 5:30 a.m. Inside the Alamo. San Antonio de Becar. William Barrett Travis is 26 years old, a lawyer from South Carolina who came to Texas chasing opportunity and running from a failed marriage. Right now, he's standing on the north wall, firing his shotgun into the darkness, watching Mexican soldiers swarm the compound like a rising tide. The cannon fire has stopped. That's bad. It means they're inside. James Bowie is dying in a room near the chapel. Tuberculosis, typhoid, maybe pneumonia. His body is burning with fever. He's 40 years old and he can't stand. But he's propped up in bed with pistols in both hands, waiting for the door to open. Davy Crockett is 50 years old, former congressman from Tennessee. He came to Texas for land and a fresh start. Right now, he's at the wooden palisade on the south wall, clubbing Mexican soldiers with his rifle because there's no time to reload. His Tennessee volunteers are dying around him, overwhelmed, outnumbered. Somewhere in the compound, Susanna Dickinson holds her 15-month-old daughter in a dark room, covering the child's ears against the screaming. She knows her husband Alharon is dead or dying. She knows the Alamo is fallen. She prays they kill her quickly, that they spare her child. They won't all get their wishes. The battle for the Alamo lasts 90 minutes, sunrise to mid-morning. By 7 a.m., every defender is dead. Some died fighting, some died surrendering, some died begging for mercy that didn't come. The bodies will be stacked and burned, the ashes scattered. Most will never have marked graves. Most will become legends without names. But before we talk about how they died, we need to understand why they stayed. Why 189 men chose to face Mexican soldiers in a crumbling mission with no real hope of victory. Why they didn't retreat, didn't surrender, didn't save themselves when they had the chance. Because the truth is more complicated than the myth. More human. More tragic. This is the real story of the Alamo. To understand the Alamo, you have to understand Texas in 1836. Texas is not yet a republic, it's a Mexican state, part of Mexico. Has been since 1821 when Mexico won independence from Spain. For years, Mexico encouraged American settlers to move to Texas, bring development, establish communities, defend against Comanche raids. Stephen F. Austin and others brought thousands of Anglo families. They were supposed to become Mexican citizens, convert to Catholicism, assimilate. They didn't. Most kept their American identity, their Protestant religion, their slaves, which Mexico had outlawed. Tensions grew. By 1835, the Mexican government, now led by General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, has had enough. Santa Anna is a complicated figure, a military genius, politically ruthless. He's consolidated power in Mexico City, abolished the federal constitution, and is cracking down on regions that resist centralized authority. Texas rebels, not because of tyranny, though that's what they'll claim later, but because they want to keep their slaves, govern themselves, and don't particularly want to be Mexican. By fall 1835, Texian forces, that's what they call themselves, have captured several Mexican garrisons, including San Antonio de Becar, which has a strategic military outpost, the Alamo. The Alamo is not impressive. It's a former Spanish mission. Old stone buildings, crumbling walls, 3 acres. It was never designed as a fortress. It's too big to defend with a small garrison and too weak to withstand a serious siege. Most military experts say it should be abandoned, blown up, deny it to the enemy. But abandoning the Alamo means abandoning San Antonio. And San Antonio is symbolic. It's the largest settlement in Texas. Losing it would be a humiliating blow to Texian morale. So the Texian leadership makes a fateful decision. Hold the Alamo. Reinforce it. Use it as a forward position to slow any Mexican advance. Enter William Barrett Travis. Travis is young, ambitious, vain. He's a lieutenant colonel in the regular Texian army, as much as one exists. He's sent to command the Alamo garrison with about 30 soldiers. When he arrives, he finds the situation is complicated. James Bowie is already there with a volunteer force. Bowie is a legend, famous knife fighter, veteran of frontier battles, the kind of man people follow. But he's a drunk, sick. He outright refuses to take orders from Travis, who he sees as a pompous boy playing soldier. Then Davy Crockett arrives, with about a dozen Tennessee volunteers. Crockett is famous, former congressman, folk hero, celebrity. He's in Texas seeking land and reinvention after losing his congressional seat. He's not particularly military, but his presence is a morale boost. So now you have 3 leaders in the Alamo. Travis, the official commander. Bowie, the respected frontiersman. Crockett, the famous face. And a garrison of maybe 150 men who are mostly volunteers, not professional soldiers. It's a recipe for chaos. Chaos is what they get. February 23rd, 1836. Mexican forces arrive in San Antonio. Not a small scouting party, an army. General Santa Anna has marched north with over 1,800 soldiers, professional troops, experienced veterans, artillery, supply trains. This is a real military force. He's come to crush the rebellion, to retake San Antonio, to show Texas and the world that Mexico will not tolerate this uprising. The Texians are caught off guard. Intelligence said Santa Anna wouldn't arrive until spring. It's still winter. Supplies are low. The fortifications aren't finished. Travis sends riders to nearby settlements. Urgent messages. We need reinforcements. Send help immediately. The defenders pull back into the Alamo. Abandon the town. Barricade the gates. Prepare for siege. Santa Anna's army surrounds the compound. Sets up artillery positions. Begins bombardment. Not a full assault. Just steady cannon fire. Wearing them down. Testing defenses. Sending a message. You're trapped. You will die here unless you surrender. Travis responds with cannon fire of his own. The Alamo has about 20 artillery pieces. Not enough to break a siege, but enough to make the Mexicans cautious. Inside the Alamo, the situation is tense. The defenders know they're outnumbered at least 10-1, probably more. They're running low on ammunition, food, medical supplies, and no reinforcements are coming. Not yet. Travis writes letters, desperate, eloquent letters. The most famous is addressed to the people of Texas and all Americans in the world. It's dramatic, defiant. I shall never surrender or retreat. Victory or death. It's also propaganda. Travis knows he needs to make this siege matter. Needs to turn it into a symbol. So he writes as if he's already a martyr. Already dead. Counting on his words to outlive him. James Bowie gets sicker. By the late February, he can't get out of bed. Command effectively falls to Travis. Men accept it. Barely. They have no choice. Davy Crockett keeps spirits up, plays his fiddle, tells stories. He's not a military leader, but he's good at keeping men from panicking. Panic is always just beneath the surface. Then on February 24th, Santa Anna raises a blood-red flag over his position, and his buglers play Defiance, a Spanish military tune that means no quarter, no mercy, no prisoners. Everyone inside the Alamo will die if they don't surrender. Travis understands the message. He gathers the garrison. This is where the legend begins. Did William Travis draw a line in the sand? According to the legend, Travis gathered his men sometime around March 3rd, gave a speech. explained the situation. Santa Ana will assault soon, in force. We're outnumbered. Reinforcements haven't arrived. We will probably all die. Then with his sword, he drew a line in the dirt and said, "Anyone willing to stay and fight, cross this line. Anyone who wants to leave may go." According to the legend, every man but one crossed the line. Even James Bowie, dying in bed, asked to be carried across. It's a powerful story. Perfect symbol of defiant courage. And it might be true. Partially, the story comes from one source. Moses Rose, a French soldier who reportedly was the only man who refused to cross the line. He escaped before the final assault and told the story years later. The problem? Rose's account wasn't recorded until decades after the Alamo, and historians have never confirmed he was even there. No contemporary documents mention the line in the sand. No other survivors describe it. But absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence. Travis might have done exactly this, or something like it. The defenders certainly knew their situation was hopeless, and they certainly had opportunities to leave. Some did. Couriers were sent out. Scouts slipped through Mexican lines, but most stayed. Why? Some believed reinforcements would arrive. Sam Houston was gathering an army. Surely they'd send help to the Alamo. Some believed the siege would end, that Santa Ana would get impatient and withdraw, that holding out mattered strategically. Some believed in Texas independence so deeply they were willing to die for it. These were true believers, revolutionaries, and some honestly were probably too scared or too proud to run. Leaving meant admitting defeat, facing the shame of abandonment. Better to die with your boots on than live as a coward. The motivations were mixed. Human, not the simple heroism of myth. What we know for certain, by early March, everyone in the Alamo understood they were probably going to die, and they made peace with it, or tried to. Let's talk about the other side. Because this story has been told from the Texian perspective for so long, we forget. The Mexican army wasn't a faceless horde. They were soldiers, professionals, men following orders. General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna is 41 years old. He's Mexico's president, its most successful general. He's fought Spanish royalists, put down rebellions. He's arrogant, yes, ruthless, absolutely, but he's not stupid. Santa Anna views the Texas Rebellion as an illegal uprising by ungrateful colonists. From his perspective, Mexico gave these Americans land, allowed them to settle, and they repaid that generosity with rebellion. They're traitors, and traitors must be crushed. The Alamo siege is part of a larger strategy. Santa Anna plans to march through Texas, destroying rebel forces, reclaiming territory. The Alamo is just the first target. Take it quickly, brutally. Make an example. Show the rebels what happens when you defy Mexico. But the Alamo has taken too long. It's been almost 2 weeks. Santa Anna's soldiers are cold, tired. Supplies are stretched. He needs to end this. His officers suggest continuing the siege. Starve them out. Wait for surrender. It's safer. Fewer Mexican casualties. But Santa Anna refuses. He wants a decisive victory. An assault. Storm the walls. Kill the defenders. Send a message that resonates across Texas. Resistance is futile. On March 5th, Santa Anna orders the final assault for the next morning, before dawn, when the defenders will be tired, cold, less alert. His troops are not enthusiastic. Assaulting fortifications is dangerous, even weak fortifications manned by desperate men. Mexican soldiers will die, many of them, but orders are orders. The assault is planned for 5:30 a.m. 4 columns will attack simultaneously from different directions. Overwhelm the defenses. Break through before the Texians can coordinate. It's a sound plan, and it will work, but it will cost. Santa Anna's army is professional, well-trained. They're not monsters. They're soldiers doing their job. Following orders in a war they didn't start. Many will die at the Alamo. Mexican casualties are heavy. Estimates range from 400 to 600 killed and wounded. Far more than the Texians. But Santa Anna doesn't care. He has the numbers. He can afford losses. By his calculation, crushing the Alamo quickly will demoralize the rest of Texas. End the rebellion faster. Save lives in the long run. He's wrong, but he doesn't know that yet. March 6, 1836. 5:30 a.m., just before dawn, the Mexican army attacks in 4 columns. They move quietly at first, trying to close the distance before the Texians realize what's happening. It doesn't work. The Alamo's sentries see them coming, sound the alarm. The defenders scramble to the walls. The first Mexican assault hits the north wall. Travis is there. He fires his shotgun. The Texians' artillery opens up. Canister shot, essentially giant shotguns, tears through the advancing columns. Mexican soldiers fall by the dozens, but they keep coming. That's the thing about professional armies. They don't break easily. They're trained to advance under fire, to climb over their own dead. The second wave hits the west wall. The third hits the south. The Texians are spread thin. They can't cover everything. They're firing as fast as they can load. But it's not enough. The Mexican soldiers reach the walls, start climbing. Ladders, each other's shoulders. They're desperate to get inside, get out of the killing zone. William Travis is shot. A musket ball to the forehead. He falls, dies almost instantly. One of the first defenders killed. The north wall is breached. Mexican soldiers pour through. The Texians fall back, fighting room to room, building to building. It's chaos. No coordinated defense, just men trying to survive. James Bowie is in his room, sick, helpless. When Mexican soldiers break in, he fires his pistols. According to some accounts, he kills 2 before they bayonet him to death in his bed. Davy Crockett and his Tennessee volunteers are at the wooden palisade on the south side. It's overrun, and here's where the legend and history diverge. The myth: Crockett died fighting, swinging his rifle, Old Betsy, as a club, going down in a blaze of glory, defiant to the end. The likely reality: Crockett survived the initial assault, was captured with a handful of other defenders, brought before Santa Anna, and executed. Some Mexican officers protested. Executing prisoners violated military honor, but Santa Anna overruled them. His orders were clear: no quarter. Crockett probably died on his knees, begging for his life, or maybe defiant. We don't know. The Mexican accounts that describe this are disputed, but they're probably true. It's less romantic, but it's more human. Davy Crockett was 50 years old. He came to Texas for land, not martyrdom. When faced with death, he probably reacted like most people, with fear, desperation, hope for mercy. He didn't get it. By 6:30 a.m., the Alamo has fallen. Mexican soldiers control the compound. They're systematically clearing buildings, killing wounded defenders, searching for survivors. Susanna Dickinson is found with her daughter and a handful of other women and children. They're non-combatants. Santa Anna spares them. He'll use them. Send them to Sam Houston with a message. This is what happens to rebels. The bodies of the defenders are collected. About 189 dead. Some historians say more, some say fewer. Records are incomplete, but around 189 is the exception number. Santa Anna orders them burned, stacked in pyres, doused with oil, set ablaze. The smoke rises over San Antonio for days. The smell is horrific. Mexican casualties, between 400 and 600. Killed or wounded, far more than the Texians. A costly victory, but a victory nonetheless. The Alamo has fallen. The defenders are dead. Texas independence seems finished. Except it's not. Because death is just the beginning of the Alamo story. The Alamo falls on March 6, 1836. 6 weeks later, on April 21st, Sam Houston's Texian army faces Santa Anna at San Jacinto. Houston has been retreating for weeks, gathering forces, avoiding battle. His army is demoralized. Many want to flee to Louisiana, give up on Texas. Then news of the Alamo arrives. The details, the deaths, the execution of prisoners, the burning of bodies. Houston uses it. Remember the Alamo becomes the battle cry. Remember the men who died. Remember the brutality. Remember what we're fighting for. At San Jacinto, Houston's army attacks during Santa Anna's siesta. It's a complete surprise. The Mexican army is routed, hundreds killed. Santa Anna himself captured. The battle lasts 18 minutes. Texas wins independence, and the Alamo becomes the symbol of why it mattered. Here's the thing. The Alamo didn't matter strategically. Holding it didn't slow Santa Anna significantly. The defenders' deaths didn't save the Texas Revolution. The story of the Alamo mattered enormously. It became propaganda, motivation, justification. Every death at the Alamo became heroic. Every defender became a martyr. William Travis became the noble commander. James Bowie became the tough frontiersman who fought from his deathbed. Davy Crockett became the legend who died swinging. The messy truth, the debates, the fear, the possible executions, the chaos was smoothed over, replaced with a narrative of noble sacrifice and defiant courage. And Texas needed that narrative desperately, because the Texas Revolution was morally complicated. It was partly about slavery, about land grabs, about Americans not wanting to be Mexican, but the Alamo made it simple. Heroes versus tyrants, freedom versus oppression, David versus Goliath. The myth grew. Within years, books were published, plays were performed, songs were written. The Alamo became sacred ground, a shrine to Texas identity. By the time Texas joined the United States in 1845, the Alamo was already legend, and legends are powerful. They justify, they inspire, they obscure. The real Alamo, the scared men, the desperate letters, the possible executions, the strategic mistakes, was buried under the myth. And for generations, that's all most people knew. So what's the truth about the Alamo? It's complicated. It's all of it. The myth and the reality. The heroism and the fear. The propaganda and the actual events. William Travis really did write those defiant letters. He really did choose to stay. Whether he drew a line in the sand or not, he made a stand. Knowing it would probably kill him. James Bowie really was dying. Really did fight from his bed. His death was ugly, violent, but it was also courageous in its own way. He could have left weeks earlier. He stayed. Davy Crockett really was there, really fought. Whether he died swinging or died executed, he made a choice to be at the Alamo. He didn't have to be. He could have stayed in Tennessee, but he came to Texas, and Texas killed him. The Mexican army really was professional, really fought with discipline and courage. They weren't villains. They were soldiers following orders. Many died taking the Alamo. They deserve respect too. Santa Anna really did order no quarter. Really did execute prisoners. That's documented by multiple sources, including his own officers. It was brutal, probably unnecessary, and it backfired spectacularly because it gave Texas the moral high ground and the motivation to keep fighting. The Alamo didn't have to fall the way it did. The defenders could have retreated, could have blown up the mission and withdrawn to more defensible positions. That was the smart play. But they stayed. For complicated reasons. Pride, hope, stubbornness, belief in the cause, fear of looking like cowards, all of it mixed together. And their deaths mattered, not strategically, but symbolically. The Alamo gave Texas a founding myth, a story to tell itself about who Texans are. Brave, defiant, willing to die for freedom. Is that true? Sometimes. Texas history is full of moments of real courage, but it's also full of moments of cowardice, cruelty, and self-interest. Like any history, the Alamo is both. It's a genuine moment of desperate courage, and it's a carefully constructed myth designed to justify a revolution that was partly about slavery and land. You can honor the men who died while acknowledging the complexity. You can respect their courage while questioning the cause. You can remember the Alamo without worshiping it. That's what history should do. It should complicate, challenge, force us to see the past as it was, not as we wish it had been. The real Alamo is more interesting than the myth, because the real Alamo is human. It's men making impossible choices, scared but staying, doomed but fighting, turning a military disaster into a cultural cornerstone through sheer force of narrative. That's more impressive, in a way, than any myth. Today, the Alamo stands in downtown San Antonio, surrounded by a modern city. It's smaller than most people expect, more humble. The walls aren't as high as they seem in movies, but it's still there, still drawing visitors, still sacred to many Texans. In front of the chapel is a cenotaph, a monument listing the names of the defenders. 189 names. Some are famous, most aren't. Most were just men, farmers, drifters, volunteers. Men history forgot except numbers in a list. They died for many reasons. Some believed in Texas independence. Some were running from problems back home. Some were too proud to leave. Some genuinely thought they could win. All of them became legends, whether they wanted to or not, whether they deserved it or not. The Alamo isn't just about what happened in March 1836. It's about what Texas chose to remember. How we turned a military defeat into a spiritual victory. How we built an identity on the bones of men who probably would have been happy to just survive. Remember the Alamo isn't just a battle cry. It's a command. Remember the story. Remember the sacrifice. Remember the myth. But maybe we should also remember the truth. The messy, complicated human truth. Because that's more valuable than any legend. The men who died at the Alamo weren't perfect. They weren't saints. They were humans. Flawed, frightened, brave, complicated, just like us. And maybe that's the real lesson of the Alamo. Not that heroes die for noble causes, but that regular people, faced with impossible choices, sometimes do extraordinary things. And sometimes those things matter. Not the way they expected, but they matter. The Alamo fell. 189 men died. Texas won independence 6 weeks later. And the legend was born. That's the truth. All of it. The good, the bad, the mythic, and the mundane. Remember the Alamo, but remember it accurately. That's how we honor the dead. Not by worshiping them, but by knowing them. Thanks for watching Texas Tales. This is the real story of the Alamo. Not the myth. Not the simplified version. The complicated, human, tragic truth. If this story made you think, hit that like button and subscribe. We tell Texas history the way it actually happened, with all its complexity, all its contradictions, all its humanity. Drop a comment. What surprised you most about the real Alamo story? What myths were you taught? And what other Texas legends should we examine? This is Texas Tales, where history is more interesting than myth, and truth is more powerful than legend. Until next time, y'all, remember the past, but remember it honestly. Take care.